Friend of the program, Joe Thomas, was doing some media rounds over at Browns training camp and was asked about the overall outlook for the team heading into the 2026 season. This is what Joe Thomas had to say about the Browns heading into the next year. Joe said, quote, "The Browns, well, they're never going to come out and say it, but you trade the greatest defensive player in the history of football at his peak, you are not thinking about this year. We don't have an answer yet at quarterback. Maybe one of these two guys turns into that guy, but I wouldn't bet the farm on it, so to speak. It is pretty obvious that they want to set themselves up as well as possible for the probability of drafting a rookie quarterback."
This is a strong comment from Joe. He doesn't usually go this strong.
He's getting more comfortable in the media.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, Joe's usually careful about what he says. Like, Joe gives you great insight on a lot of things.
Yeah.
But he's usually very careful with what he doesn't like to say anything kind of that could be taken as negative about the Browns.
He doesn't have any teammates on the team anymore. He doesn't have any coaches that coached him on the team
That's
anymore.
exactly right.
And
The farther
he's in the Hall of
removed you-
Fame, like
Right.
dude, you're right. The further removed you are, the more critical you and confident you become being of that team.
And
He's not telling.
he's certainly not saying anything you don't know.
He's just telling the truth.
But
That's it.
I feel like in the past he wouldn't have gone even that far, which is not that far.
Because
But
he shared the locker room with the guys.
yeah,
It's always hard to be critical of guys that you know personally.
His last best buddy is
Joel
gone.
Bitonio.
Is gone.
did he play with Denzel Ward or did Denzel come the year after?
He was after.
Denzel was 18. Yeah, he would have been after, right?
Right. Is Joe last year 17 or 18?
17.
It was 17?
Because he played in the crappy uniforms.
Oh, of course you remember that. You're Mr. Uniform. Dustin is, we talk about being a savant. When it comes to numbers and uniforms.
Just weird photographic stuff. I
Yeah,
just
yeah,
have
yeah.
this weird thing. I don't know. Like I the other day I was like driving with my friends and I was telling them that I saw my buddy driving. I'm like, I knew it was you because I know your license plate number.
That's bizarre.
And I don't know the whole thing, but I know
Yeah.
the first three
Yeah.
And so you knew it was him.
of like almost all my friends.
And it wasn't a personalized plate?
No.
This is a random plate.
Mhm.
And yet you knew it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Yeah, it's weird.
That is funny.
Yeah.
But it's still, when Joe Thomas says that, as opposed to one of us saying it,
It carries.
It carries more weight.
Sure.
there's no doubt. So when Joe's basically telling
It's
you,
common sense.
you know
traded
that,
they
and
traded
I know
Myles
that,
Garrett.
Jason.
They traded Myles Garrett.
But not everybody thinks that's common sense, especially the second part, because he's basically telling you these quarterbacks can't play.
Right.
That's what he's saying.
That's the part that hurts in the heart for.
Yes.
a
That's
lot
what
of
he's
fans.
saying.
Yeah.
When he's saying maybe one of them,
And if they thought one of these quarterbacks could play, they wouldn't have traded Myles Garrett.
that's right. That's
They're
right.
connected.
So I know there's been some I think some of that thought has swung the other way because they extended Denzel
Yeah.
and they extended Grant Delpit, and there was talk of them maybe signing Clowney, which nobody signed him yet. Maybe they still will.
No, he did. He went to Texans.
Oh, I missed that.
Yeah, he signed with the Texans.
Okay.
He visited the Browns that weekend, and on
Yeah.
Monday signed with the
Okay,
Texans.
completely off my radar. I didn't
Same.
see that. So they didn't sign Clowney. But I think some people saw those series of events, or two events and a possibility, as, maybe they do think now they can win. And listen, no team, the head coach, Todd Monken's not going in there saying, hey, we're not going to win. We don't care about winning.
Sure.
But what is the organization's priority? The organization's priority this offseason was to build a team for the future, not to win in the 2027 or 2026 season. It wasn't. That's clear. And no re-signing of Denzel Ward, Grant Delpit changes that. That's obvious.
I would agree.
Right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And then the second part, you'd certainly have more pushback on the second part. But you're going to push you're going to push back on Joe Thomas? Okay, that's up to you. It doesn't just because Joe Thomas was a great football player doesn't mean he's right about everything.
Correct.
But he's saying what a lot of other people are saying. That when you trade your best player and you don't have a quarterback, or at least it seems like you don't have a quarterback, it's hard to think you're going to win football games. And the Browns, as much as I, lambaste the owner and at times the GM, although I think he's done a better job, they're not stupid. They understand the team is not going to win that much this year.
Do you guys agree? I feel like I'm trying to broker peace between our side and Earl and Tyvis that are in the 8-9 wins camp, 7 camp. We're in the.
I'm in the 4.
Yeah, I'm in the 4-5. I
I'm at
won't be
5.
shocked if they win 6.
Yeah.
I'm in the 4-5 though. Are you guys with me though? That and I hate playing the wait till next year game.
Yeah,
But I totally see a path next year where this is a wild card team.
100%.
You guys, do you agree with me on that?
I do. But it's a big if they get a quarterback.
Yeah, I know.
If they get it right, which it's hard to have a ton of faith in them getting it right at quarterback, although, in fairness to Andrew Berry, outside of Dylan Gabriel, he did a great job in the draft last year. And on paper, so far, I think he's done a good job.
Yeah.
We don't know for sure till he plays,
Sure.
right? But it looks like
Yep.
at least his drafting has significantly improved.
They flipped this faster than I thought that they
Yes.
could.
I think this team is a quarterback away from being a playoff contender.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
100%. The team, if you, I don't know where the Browns would rank because I don't know other teams as well as I know the Browns. So it's stupid to say I think the Browns are the 8th best team besides quarterback. And it may just be stupid to say anything besides quarterback.
Right.
But I think if you look at the Browns roster minus quarterback, it's not a bad roster.
No,
It's gotten a lot better the last couple of years.
I look at 2027 as Mason Graham going into year 3, Denzel Boston going into year 2,
Concepcion,
Jared
year two.
Verse a year in. I know, like Todd Monken, year 2 of Todd Monken's system.
Right.
A year of the offensive line gelling.
Well, I think there's more change to come on the offensive line. I think.
Or
yeah.
at least there'll be some continuity compared to literally everyone.
So
being new.
I don't like any of their starters besides Fano on the offensive line long term.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's still a lot of work to be done.
Yeah.
But I absolutely see a path to where we're having far different conversations. We
Yes.
are having far different conversations about this team a year from now than the way it sounds right now.
I think the roster overall is trending in the right direction.
I agree with that. They've had a
yeah.
couple of good drafts. At least last year's appears
Yeah.
to be pretty good. This year,
Yeah.
this one on paper is pretty good.
Yeah.
They're just held back by the most important position.
Yeah.
And they have to get I was thinking about this driving in this morning. Deshaun has been here so long. When he got carted off the field, I wrote a piece. I had people in the locker room saying it feels like a cloud has been lifted. You
Right.
remember that?
Yeah. 100%.
It's weird and sad.
He's been here so long.
Yeah.
They've turned over basically the entire roster
Yeah.
to where now I don't think that all of that crap even matters at this point
No.
because all these guys are so young that they have no ties to that.
There's nobody on offense that has a tie to that.
You see what I'm saying?
Nobody.
Like he's been here so long that
Right. The only
it's-
players here longer, I
don't
think,
wanna-
are Ward and Delpit.
I don't want to say it's irrelevant because there was a lot of gross, nasty stuff going on.
Yeah, sure.
But in terms of like locker room impact,
It's irrelevant.
it's
You're
irrelevant.
right.
It's irrelevant.
Right.
It's wild.
And he'll be gone after this year.
But
Yes,
it's
anyway.
it's wild that he's lasted this long, and it's gotten to that point where
yeah.
a dark cloud was lifted to where it's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
Now he's just a bad quarterback.
Right. Yeah, right. It feels that way.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Now he's just a run of the mill bad quarterback
Yeah.
instead of
All the other stuff.
all the other stuff. Yeah. It's still there, but you're right. In the locker room, none of those guys dealt with
They're
any of
so
that.
young, they don't know any better than.
He's the dean of the offense, isn't he?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who's been here the longest besides him on the
On
offense?
offense, Judy, right? Is there anyone?
Judy's been here. Is this his third year?
Third year, 3
Third year.
for
So
Judy.
DeJuan Jones is third year too.
DeJuan Jones, third year. Yep.
Jeez.
I mean, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Nobody's been here more than 3 years
Are we
besides
missing anyone, Mike? I
on
don't
offense.
think so. I
Is
don't
there
think
anybody
so.
that's been on this offense for more than 3 years?
This will be
besides
Judy-
Deshaun?
This will be Judy's third year.
Oh, is Zach Zinter his third year or fourth?
I mean,
He doesn't play, but
I don't think Zach
This will be
Center's.
his third year.
I don't
He
think
was
this
in the
will be
Mike Hall
Zach
class.
Center's third year in Cleveland.
no,
This
he
is
won't be here.
Luke Whippler's third year.
Who's third year?
Whippler.
Yeah, Whippler and Zinter
Whippler,
both.
DeJuan Jones.
I think
I don't think Whippler
I
and
think
Zinter are going to be
Whippler
here.
and Zinter both are in jeopardy.
And they're both terrible
Yeah, I don't
unless
know.
there's injuries.
Watson's by far the longest tenured.
on offense. The only
Yeah.
longest tenure players, I believe, are Delpit and Ward. How long's the
Delpit-
punter been here?
Bjorkes? Not
Not longer than Watson, I don't
no,
think.
not longer than no. No.
And that's crazy.
I mean, there's a lot of turnover in the NFL. That's crazy.
Yeah, it is. It is nuts that you have the one player on this team that's been here more than 3 years on offense.
But the original point was like you got to
Yeah.
get that contract off the books. Just get
Yeah.
the contract off the books.
Right.
And you're still going to have dead cap money owed to him, but at least the contract is gone.
Yeah.
At least you've made it through most of it.
And I'm not firing Monken. I don't care what their record is this year.
Yeah.
I don't care if they
No
go
matter
0
what.
17. I wouldn't fire him. They won't go 0-17, but you know what I'm saying. I'm not firing him.
I wouldn't either.
You committed. You got to give him at least 2 years. With minimum, absolutely minimum.
Well, now no, because if you're taking a quarterback, now you got to give him like 4, or else you're starting over on this. You know, you can't.
That's
if
true.
You take a quarterback and now you fire the coach after his first year.
Right.
What are you doing?
Yeah, that's a mess.
So
at least 3 years.
You got to commit to
minimum.
him for. I would say.
I think 3.
4. You got to give him 3 years with a rookie quarterback.
I just hope they're in a position to get that quarterback next year. And then we could be talking about next year, like if they get a quarterback we're all excited about in the draft next year, it's gonna be a whole new ball game. Whether they turn out to be good next year or not, it's gonna be a whole new ball game. If they get a quarterback in next year's draft and that guy's even decent as a rookie, it's gonna be a super exciting time.
Hypothetically,
Hypothetically.
hypothetically, if this team ends up with Arch Manning next year going into the season.
Oh my gosh. And listen, is Arch Manning going to be great in the NFL?
Don't know.
I don't know.
Don't know. I mean, obviously, we think he'll be good because he got a lot better in college and he's got the pedigree and all those things. But just from like a standpoint of like the excitement level, remember how excited we were for Johnny Manziel? And that was stupid.
Beyond stupid.
Because he wasn't, we knew what he was.
Yeah, right.
But like Arch Manning is somebody that we expect, like that guy's going to be like a 10, 12 year vet at least.
I don't think they're in position to take him unless he does go number 1.
But why couldn't they end up with the number 1 pick?
They could. But I think that they'll be probably in that 3, 4, 5, 6 range.
You think so?
What do you think of Lenore Sellers? You see a lot of college football.
I think he's a really
like
talented guy. I think he's had some injury concerns, but I mean, he's had to work for everything. I mean, the guy's played at multiple levels, and I definitely like him.
Yeah, like that's the thing. It's not. I know. It's all about Arch for a lot of people. And,
it shouldn't be.
There's
the
a lot of
doesn't necessarily matter.
Arch isn't even the consensus number 1.
Just because his uncles are good doesn't
Drew
mean he's
Mestemaker. I told you guys about him last year.
What's that?
Dante Moore is
absolutely. I really like
higher
Dante
rated
Moore.
prospect
The kid who was
right
at
now.
North Texas just transferred to Oklahoma State this year, and I think he's gonna.
What's his name again?
Drew Mestemaker.
You think he's going to become a star this year?
Well, he's already, in my mind, he's already a star, but he's going to now be playing in the Big 12.
More high profile.
Yeah.
I'll be curious to see how many quarterbacks go in this first round.
I mean, just the names that could be in the mix.
Yeah, but last year we thought there were games in the mix, and then most of this year.
Some of those
but
names
as of now, Mike,
of those names got pushed to this draft.
Yeah, most of them as of now. As of now, how many guys are considered possible first-round picks or likely first-round picks?
A lot.
At least 5, right? 5.
Arch Manning.
Yep. Sellers.
Dante Moore.
Yep.
I'm just going to go down the line. Dante Moore.
Yeah.
CJ Carr from Notre Dame. Julian Sayin.
Yep.
Drew Mestemaker. Darian Mensah.
These guys
Lenore
are all
Sellis and
first-round
Jaden
picks.
Maeva.
Where are you coming up? This is Dane Brugler?
No, this is Jordan Reed of ESPN's quarterbacks that could be in the first round mix next
could
year
be.
list.
Okay.
They're probably 5.
Julian Sayin's going to be a first-round pick?
Oh, yeah.
Really? Is that good?
I don't know. No Ohio State
Dustin,
quarterbacks
you buying
that
that?
Who's that?
Julian Sayin? You think he's a first-round pick?
good. Yeah.
How
he's
big
going
is he?
First round.
I mean, he's tall.
I would say 5 right now. I put it at 5.
He had 9 guys that he said could be first round picks. So
I mean, come on.
Is Byron Brown on that list?
Byron Brown was not on this list.
Okay. He was at South Florida. He just transferred to Auburn.
What's your number? How many of those guys? How many you think are going in the first round?
3.
You think 3? Okay.
I mean, that's the average, right?
There will be more than
4.
3 next
I
year.
think it's more than 3.
That's what you were saying last year. Everybody was saying it was going to. This year was supposed to be the good quarterback draft.
How many went last year?
Huh?
How many went last year?
What do you mean?
How many
25
quarterbacks got drafted in the first
3?
round? last
2.
year?
2.
2 or 3?
in the 25 draft or the 26 draft?
The draft we just had. How many?
26. 2.
26.
2.
Yeah.
Mendoza and Simpson.
Right?
Yeah.
Yes. And there was 2 the year before.
Okay,
And
so
now-
why are you so sure there's going to be more?
Because a lot of the guys that were supposed to be got pushed back and got
Well,
pushed
maybe
back.
part of the reason was they weren't that good.
And
I
that
think-
can
Well,
always
NIL
happen
too.
again.
Yes.
Guys are staying in
Always
school
happen
longer.
again.
NILs change the game on when these
Yeah,
guys
but
come out.
Dante Moore, we got a lot of hype. He wasn't like nobody was drooling over him going into this draft.
Dante Moore would have been
Moore
the
would've
second
been the
pick
first
if he
pick
came
if
out.
he was in the
yeah,
draft.
he'd have been the first or second
No, he
pick.
wouldn't have been.
100%.
Mendoza would have been.
I just said first or second. I said second.
Yeah.
He said first. I said first or second.
And I agree with that. He'd be one of those 2.
Yeah. They'd have gone 1, 2.
Right, because there was nobody else. There were no other
No
Well, it doesn't
matter
mean you're
no
good,
matter
though.
what year it is.
It doesn't mean
if
you're
gonna
good.
go second in the draft, it doesn't matter, dude. You're good.
Yeah. Who had the second pick of the draft?
It was David Bailey who went to the Jets, an edge rusher. You think
We
they
think
need
the
a
Jets would
quarterback?
have definitely taken Dante Moore. He's that good?
Yes.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
There were reports from Todd McShay that he didn't want to go to New York, so he went back to school.
He's a loser then. I mean, if you guys that refuse teams, I don't know, loser mentality to me.
Is it really a loser mentality if you're already making good money and you
Yeah.
feel like, okay, I could still develop a little bit? I think it's just there's some nuance to it. It's not.
He
just
got
black
$6
and white.
million to go back too, so let's not pretend like.
And Dan
That's
Lanning's
his
an
play
awesome
role.
coach, really fun to play for. Can
I'm
develop.
saying if he didn't go just because he didn't want to play for, a
I
certain
promise
team,
you there
No,
are
there's no way that was the only reason,
There-
but certainly would factor in.
there are quarterbacks and or their agents who are looking at this year going, you don't want to go to Cleveland.
Oh, sure, yeah,
So
yeah.
Yeah,
Same
I'm just
thing.
telling you.
Loser mentality, I think.
I'm telling you from firsthand experience. Like the team you go to, it matters. Like the trajectory of your career, absolutely
for sure.
is dictated by
Rich
the
Paul
team
talks
that you
about that
get
all the
drafted.
time in basketball.
But if you're good enough, if you're that good, you overcome that.
I don't agree with that.
Do you think
I
anybody?
see it a
you
little
think
differently.
Joe Burrow? No.
I
The Bengals
think
are a terrible
I think
organization.
they are, but they also look at who he's throwing the football to.
No, I hear you, but
I mean, Sam Darnold was terrible in New York, terrible in Carolina.
But we really think nobody can be good in New York, that they can never possibly be good, or that the Browns can never possibly be good? I don't buy that.
Well,
It's not never, but the circumstances do have to kind of align. And
Agreed.
And like the culture has not been good there for a long time.
Agreed, and it makes
know.
you better. But I think the super elites can overcome a lot of that bad stuff.
Maybe so, but I still think that regardless of how elite you were or are, it would be challenging for that player to ever reach his full potential. You know what I mean? Like you could say, all right, Drew Brees, who just won the Hall of Fame over the weekend, like if that guy would have went to New York when they were what they are now, like he
But the
wouldn't be
Saints were a garbage organization before
right. But
he went there.
But I know, but he got with Sean Payton.
Okay, so it's not necessarily the organization, but the coach.
It's
It's
all
kind
of
of
it.
coincides.
It's all of it.
Kind of coincides. The culture and the
Right, but
team,
the-
the
like,
organization, the
the-
coach, like it all matters.
But some organizations ebb and flow. Not every organization is great forever. I mean, the Saints have, outside of Drew Brees, have mostly been a bad organization.
Correct. And
Because
they've
Sean-
only
yeah.
had one coach that's been good
Right.
in the history of the franchise, basically.
And he left as soon as Breeze left.
I mean, right now the Giants are considered a joke, but for many years they were a great organization.
They had a great
Well,
coach.
I think the Giants will come back to some relevancy with Harbaugh. I think he'll help stabilize that. And they have a quarterback in Dart who I like, so I think they'll be fine.
I mean, the Browns had Belichick,
They did.
and they were better then.
Yeah.
I don't think it's. Listen, the Browns could get back. I understand why a player wouldn't want to play for the Browns or the Bengals or the Jets. I get it. But ultimately, I would think if I'm good enough, I could help overcome some of those problems. And things change. Organizations get better. Even the bad organizations do improve at times, right? I mean, there's organizations.
Yeah.
The Patriots forever were a terrible organization. For the most part, before Belichick, they were terrible.
Yeah.
Well, they got Drew Bledsoe, and he was really good. And then obviously Belichick was a hell of a coach.
Sometimes it's the coach
Pete-
that turns
Pete-
the organization around. Sometimes it's the players.
Pete Carroll. I mean, they've had some good coaches that have turned things around there. Obviously, Robert Kraft got lucky. I mean, he's a good owner, I guess, in the grand scheme of things. I know we got to run. But, yeah, I think the situation, there's nuance to it. That's all.
Yeah.